A Russian state TV host and an ally of President Vladimir Putin issued an ominous warning to the United Kingdom on state TV, according to Newsweek. During an appearance on channel Russia 1, Vladimir Solovyov, one of the most prominent figures in Kremlin-backed media, suggested Russia put the UK underwater. Newsweek says that the UK is one of Europe's top suppliers of military assistance to Ukraine in the war. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer made his first official visit to Kiev last week since taking office in July, where Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said they agreed to at least $3.6 billion in annual military aid. Starmer's predecessor, Rishi Sunak, had vowed to continue supporting Kiev for as long as it takes. Solovyov began by bringing out a large military plaque from Ukraine's large Russia-occupied Donetsk region, where fierce fighting is ongoing. He issued a warning to NATO member states, Germany and France, suggesting that Russia would soon seize these nations. The Kremlin propagandist went on to suggest that he wouldn't be able to get a plaque from London because it will be underwater, and he hasn't mastered an underwater sport yet. Kremlin propagandists have routinely warned of a looming world war and strikes by Russia on NATO territory over aid and weapons provided to Kiev by the Joe Biden administration on members of the military alliance. Russian President Vladimir Putin, in March 2024, brushed off accusations that he would order an attack on a NATO member. Their statements about our alleged intention to attack Europe after Ukraine is sheer nonsense, Putin said, adding that Washington's defense budget is more than 10 times Moscow's. In view of that, are we going to wage a war against NATO? It's ravings. Anton Gerashchenko, a former advisor to Ukraine's Minister of Internal Affairs, shared a video of the state TV broadcast on X, formerly, and wrote, "Attention, Europe! Russian propagandist Solovyov promises to bring plaques from Berlin, Bonn and Paris." He adds that he won't be able to bring one from London because it would be underwater. And yet, Russia claims it doesn't really intend to attack NATO. Russian state TV host Vladimir Solovyov said, "I have often shown plaques from liberated Mariupol. We bring them from everywhere as a reminder. I'll place it here nicely. As for how the enemy behaves, let them prepare. I will bring these plaques from Berlin, Bonn and Paris. I won't be able to bring one from London. I haven't mastered an underwater sport yet. Therefore, I and Comrade General Andrei Gurulev probably won't go deep enough to remove the plaque. The UK will continue to provide military support to Ukraine despite threats from Russian propagandists."
Civilians fled from eastern Congo's Nzulo IDP camp Wednesday after weeks of intensified fighting in the ongoing conflict between M23 and the Congolese army moved closer to the provincial capital Goma. According to Associated Press, the Nzulo camp is filled with internally displaced people who have already fled once the decades-long conflict that has created one of the world's largest humanitarian crises. David Kasarika fled on a motorbike with a young child, barely stopping to explain that he was leaving Nzulo because M23 rebels had taken Ngwiro Hill. "We are fleeing, but we don't know where we are going, because everywhere, the bombs are following us," he said. Nadej Bama, like many others in Nzulo, was first displaced due to intense fighting in Sake. Inside the Nzulo IDP camp, the mother of 6 gathered what she could of her belongings and piled them into a minibus so that she could flee again. "We just learned that the M23 have arrived in Ngwiro, and we decided to leave the area because bullets and bombs are falling. We are afraid," she said. Congolese authorities said Tuesday that M23 has seized the town of Minova, a key supply route for Goma. The provincial governor of South Kivu, Jean-Jacques Peroussi, confirmed the capture of Minova, adding that the rebels have also captured the mining towns of Lumbashi, Numbi and Shange in the same province and the town of Bweremana in neighboring North Kivu province. M23, or the March 23 movement, is a militant group composed of ethnic Tutsis who broke away from the Congolese army just over a decade ago. The group rose to prominence in 2012 when its fighters seized Goma, the capital of North Kivu province and eastern Congo's largest city, on the border with Rwanda. M23 is one of about 100 armed groups that have been vying for a foothold in mineral-rich eastern Congo since the conflict began. More than 7 million people have been displaced.
Tuko nakimbia hatuna kwa tuko nakimbilia juu fasi yote mabomu ziko natufata. Tunakimbia juu ya barebele, tuko nasikia wanakuwa kukilima Angwiro. Tuko nasikia bako hapa karibu na tunasikia masasi ya kidogo inaanza lia tu hapa kukilima Angwiro. Njoo inaacha tunatoka mwingine tunabomola kambi tunakimbia.
Sikia M23 imeshafika hapa Ngwiro, sasa tunajideplace masasi kuna piga ovyo tunakimbia. Na mabomba tusatia kuna mabombi.